Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We finally have Shadows of the Galaxy set reviews. Today we are going to be talking about the Vigilance color. Sorry I have not made a video in a second. I have been sick for a couple of weeks. I'm going to try my best not to cough in this video. But, let's just get started right away because let's talk about cards. That's the fun part, right? So, I have a system of grading that I'm going to go over briefly. If you've seen my videos before, it's the same thing. So an S rating is something that if you pull, you're like, man, I need to play this color. It is just so insane. A are powerful cards. They're like your draft or pre-release bombs. By the way, the pre-release is about in a week and a half, and these ratings are going to be geared towards pre-release and draft this time. If I think a card like differs greatly on draft versus pre-release, then I will also make that known during the video. All right, so B is a good card that you just always include. Like, it's not insane, but they're going to be just your cards that you want to see. You usually almost never cut a B. You shouldn't. Unless you have, yeah, we won't get there. Right? All right, so we go to C. Are the majority of your deck? They're just fine cards. They're playables. Yeah, that's it. D are cards that you're looking to cut, or they're like really niche effects, like things that are hard to use or like have set conditions. F is like higher up on there, like it's really niche, like really hard to use, very situational, or the card is just absolutely terrible, like all upgrades. Anyway, let's get into the cards, because who cares about this rating system, right? So we just go boom, we go ba, and yeah, it was annoying to actually find all the cards listed, to be honest, because I cannot find a site that has every single one. So we found those couple missing cards. We used the Star Wars list. So I'm pretty sure I have every card. So no need to worry. Let's talk about blue-black first. And sorry, we will go over the leaders. So first up, we got Gar Saxon. This is his leader side. He says that each friendly upgraded unit gets +1/+0. You know how I like upgrades. I don't. This effect, it makes all of your upgrade cards a little bit better, but we don't really want upgrade cards in our deck anyway. But it does feel really nice whenever you play like a shielded unit, because they just get that much stronger. And his deploy side comes out at 6 resources, and each friendly unit gets +1/+0 and gains. When defeated, you may return an upgrade that was attached to this unit to its owner's hand, so you can quote unquote value trade with them and then get that upgrade back. I don't think it works for shields and experience tokens, since they're like tokens, right? They can't exist in your hand, so don't try to be doing that. So it just works with cards. Again, I don't like upgrades. If you open a million upgrades, then and you have a Gar Saxon, he is the common, then sure, go for it. But I don't like this leader at all, really. I'm going to give him a D. His stats are fine for a 6 cost. They're Boba stats, but obviously Boba is overstated. And I don't think he's that impactful when he flips over, because he wants you to value trade with cards that are already there with upgrades on them. And then you put the upgrades on him. I don't know. He's kind of weird. And I just don't really like him that much. I think we much prefer the other blue-black leader, which I do not know how to pronounce her name, sorry. We'll say Kyra, whatever. Her ability is action to deal 2 damage to a friendly unit, then give a shield token to it, and it costs 1 resource to do that. I like this action, actually. 2 damage for a shield is a pretty good trade. Like a lot of your cards, are 3/4s, 4/5s. This set, actually, if you look at the blue cards, they have a lot of health. So you'd be turning in like a 2/6 to a 2/4 with a shield, or like a 3/6, until a 3/4 with a shield, which I like. It costs a resource, which is fine. I think Luke's ability was very good, and the nice thing about this leader is that you don't have to do it the same turn you play it. You can do it whenever. You could do it multiple times to the same unit. Obviously, if it doesn't have a shield, right? Like, you could just be so annoying. You have a grit unit. You deal 2 damage to it. Give it a shield. Value trade. Next turn, boom, deal 2 damage. Gets even bigger. Give it a shield. It can be pretty annoying for your opponent. And then her flip side comes out at 5, which is a little nice. And she's a 0/8 with grit. When deployed, heal all damage from each unit. Then deal damage to each unit equal to half its remaining HP rounded down. So she's just going to half health everyone, including herself, which means technically she'll be like a 4/4 on deploy, which dies to like everything. So I think you have to be pretty smart about when you deploy her. A cool thing is that if you used her prior ability to give a shield and then you deploy her, the shield will soak up all the damage of the half health. So you'll get a fully healed unit. So I think you can use her in creative ways. I'm not crazy about her leader side, but I do think there are board states where like you could really take advantage of that. Also, just like half healthing things on your opponent's side of the field is like kind of cool to help you take a value trade. The problem is she might die immediately if you do that because she only has 4 HP left. But I do like this leader a little bit more than Gar Saxon. It doesn't require any build arounds, right? Her ability is static and can be used throughout the game on anyone. So we're going to give her a C. She is playable. As a playable leader, if you have the option between this and Saxon, probably this leader. All right, let's get into the blue-black cards. Afterwards, we'll talk about the good guys. And yeah, so just remember that cards that require 2 aspects, so blue and black, are usually stronger than like just blue cards. This card is an exception. I don't know how I feel about 1-cost cards in this game in general because you start with 2 resources. So how are we using the other one? Are we using Kyra's ability? Let's say we do, then this becomes like, I don't know, a 3/2 shielded. Cool. Like you played a regular unit. It has a shield though, right? All right, so anyway, let's talk about this card. I didn't even describe it. It's a 1/4 with grit and has bounty, which means when it dies, your opponent will draw a card. That's a downside. So, we don't want our opponent drawing cards. And if you do this exact card in Kira, whatever, you do get a 3/2 shielded unit that says on death your opponent draws a card. That is very above rate. But outside of her, it's very not good. It is an underworld, so you have some like underworld synergies with other things. I don't know. I actually gave this card a D. I can see how maybe I'd be wrong, but I do think I would cut this card a lot because like later in the game, I don't want to be playing like a 1/4 that needs me to like spend other resources to try to make better. And if I play it later in the game, my opponent can abuse it to draw an extra card. So it really is only good turn 1 with Kira. And outside of that, yeah, I don't know. So we're going to give it a D. It's cuttable, but we could include this card in our deck. Next up, we have the Doctor, something I need right now, and it is a 2-resource 0/5 Imperial unit with action. Deal 1 damage to a friendly unit and draw a card. So you cannot do this a turn you play it, but on the following turn, you could ping himself, making him a 0/4 and drawing a card. Usually cards that are played on turn 1 are 2 3s or 3 2s, so your opponent cannot usually kill this card even after you deal 1 damage to it, which means sometimes you could have the ability to draw 2 cards with it. 2 resources to draw 2 cards and eat a bunch of damage. Actually sounds pretty good to me. It doesn't sound insane. You could like do some grit shenanigans by turning on things. So yeah, I want to give this card a C. I think it's playable. I don't think it's anything insane. I think it's a lot better and constructed, honestly. But yeah, this is a C card. Fine. Could be in our deck. Next up, we have the Pike Sentinel. It is a 2-resource 2/3 Sentinel unit. Nice and easy. If you guys don't remember the cost curve, right, they go 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7. Just add 1 to their stats and distribute them any way you want to. So like a 2-cost card could also be a 3/2. It could also be a 4/1, right? Because 2 plus 3 adds up to 5 and distribute the 5 stats. That's like an on curve-ish card. So anything above that, is above rate. This card is completely on rate, comes with Sentinel, but it's pretty weak. A Sentinel on turn 1 isn't that impactful, so you probably play it later, but then it dies to everything. I think you put this card in your deck, but I don't think you're like super excited to see it. So we're going to give this card a C. It is just playable. Next up, guys, we have one card that is not on this side, of course, and it's going to be Death Trooper. My face is in the way, but you guys know this card. It's a 3-cost reprint, 3/3, deal 2 damage to a friendly ground unit. I can move my base over for a second. And 2 damage to an enemy ground unit. So you ping itself, you ping something else, you kill it off, or, you hit something with grit. In last format, we would hit our scout bike, making that grit unit go way up, and it was a pretty strong play. I still like on-demand removal, quote-unquote. Removal is always premium, and because of that, we're going to give this card a B. It should always be in our deck, because at the very least, it's a 3/1 that can deal 2 damage to something, which is nice. Please note that this is mandatory, so if they don't have a unit on the field, you're just playing out a weaker unit for no reason. So do keep that in mind. Next up, we have the Client. So again, this card is stats are on curve, just to talk about them one more time to make you guys start thinking about it, because that is how I evaluate cards a lot of the time. And so this is a 2/5, which is on rate, because a normal 3 cost would be a 3/4, right? -1 to attack, +1 to defense, and you got an on-rate card. But it comes with shielded, and it has this cool effect. It has an action, so you tap it, turn it sideways, choose a unit. For this phase, it gains Bounty. Heal 5 damage from a base. So I kind of like that it has on-curve stats with shield, making it just a little bit better. And you can play around with this action ability if you need to heal 5. I'm not convinced that you do need to heal 5, but you can, which I think pushes it up from a playable card to a good card. And we're going to give this card, the Client, a B. And yeah, he's not getting shot, is he? Okay. Next up, we have Loam Pike. It is a 4-costed 4/6 underworld unit, which is relevant. Not as much in the blue color, but outside of it, if you pair it with, yellow, underworld's pretty good. You may give a shield token to an enemy unit. If you do, give a shield token to a friendly unit. So this card is 1 point above rate, should be a 4/5 or 5/4. Having 6 health means it's probably not dying to anything. It also comes with Smuggle, which if you guys don't know how Smuggle works, it means from your resources you can play this card out, and then you get the top card of your deck into your resource, so you go resource sames. You don't lose a resource, but you get this card for free technically because it's from your resources, which means you +1 anytime you play it from your resource. And then it's 1 below curve on its stats, but it comes with this cool effect. I think this effect is a little bit risky, but if your opponent has a crap unit like that 0/5 that deals damage, and we don't care if they're drawing cards, I mean, now we're giving our big unit, our 4/6, a shield, and giving their crap unit a shield. That can feel pretty good. So I do like this card, and we're going to give it another B. And again, you guys should see that most of these, class-dependent cards should get a little bit higher ratings, and we'll notice a big difference when we get into just the blue cards. And next up, we have Sonara-san. It is a 4-costed 3/6 underworld unit. Nice. This card adds up to 9, which is on curve. Has grit though, and while this unit is exhausted, she gains bounty, deal 5 damage to a base. So she actually has a negative bounty. That's because she comes with on-curve stats, but has grit, which means she can, do some serious damage. You pair this with the Kyra, you play it out, and all of a sudden you have like a 6/3. That's a lot of damage. I don't think this bounty is that much of a downside most of the time. If you're against aggro, she could probably make 2 trades for you, so losing that 5 damage is about net even. I'm not usually too concerned about cards that hurt ourselves that offer us more explosive power, especially in the early game, so I do actually like this card, and we're going to also give it a B, but I can see how this card can actually steal games, and maybe it deserves more than a B. That will be decided the more I play. But yeah, we'll start off with a B. Next up, we have Clan Saxon Gauntlet. It is a 6-costed space unit, Mandalorian tag. It is a 4/5, so it's a little bit below rate, but it comes with Sentinel. When this unit is attacked, you may give an experience token to a unit before damage is dealt. So I don't like the fact. Sorry, just coughing everywhere. I don't like the fact that it's a Space Sentinel unit because our opponent's probably not playing many space cards. It does protect us against like all the early game space units, which is cool. But let's say our opponent doesn't play space at all. We're not getting any value from its effect, and we just have a 6-costed 4 attacker, which is really, really low below rate. This card is pretty situational, so I'm only going to give it a C. I think it's playable. I don't think we cut it that often, but I can envision, like, when I have a really strong pool, not playing this card. Like, playing more value cards at 6, like playing removal spells, just playing, like, a stronger ground unit. Keep coughing everywhere. This card is the type of card that, like, if you don't have any Sentinel units, I mean space units at all, you're gonna be like, yeah, I want to play this card because I have no space units. And if that's the case, you know, that's because you have no space units. I don't know if it really necessarily should increase the power level of this card. Obviously, this card does have crazy upside if our opponent is very space heavy, but that's why I think it's situational. This card's great in the side. You come in against a very space heavy deck and it goes all the way to a B or an A. But for now, it's a playable card. And we should move on before I keep talking about the card for the rest of my life. Next up, we have a much stronger space unit. It's a 4/7, so it still swings for 4. Has only one more cost to it. But it has grit, and it's an underworld unit. And each other friendly non-leader unit gains grit, and it has smuggle. Its smuggle cost is the exact same, but you have to deal 4 damage to a friendly unit, which kind of sucks. But if you deal 4 damage to itself, it comes out as an 8/3 because it has grit. Like that is going to kill your opponent in 1 to 2 turns. And if your opponent doesn't really play space cards, we're going to win the game. Giving your entire board grit is absolutely disgusting. Like you make every single card in your deck better, and because it has smuggle, like that is nuts. Like this card is at least an A, if not an S. I think it has to really probably take that S tag. It's like the strongest, one of the strongest, and probably the strongest like card in blue. And the ability to put it in your resource early and play it later and like have that versatility is just crazy to me. So first light, if you see this card, you probably want to be switching to blue-black. We're going to give our first S of the video to first light. Congratulations, buddy. Next up, we have Supreme Leader Snoke. Hopefully that's how I pronounce it. Sorry, guys. Each enemy leader gets -2/-2. It's like a magic effect. It's a 6/6. It's a force unit. There's not much force synergy in this set, though. It's not as much as last time. It's also an official. This card costs a lot for a 6/6. Obviously, it comes with like this cool AoE effect. Just know that even if it doesn't kill units, you're taking a lot less damage. But again, this card probably doesn't kill anything besides already damaged units. And so therefore at 8 costs, it's not that board impactful. And even like going to your next turn and swinging for 6 is like whatever. But again, you're taking a lot less damage from your opponent. But I don't know. I think this card maybe could be hard to kill from other units, but very vulnerable to any spells. And because it probably doesn't kill anything on play, it's just a risky card to put in your deck. It doesn't come with smuggle like the last card. I'm not sure that I always would play this card, so I'm not going to give it a B. I think I would cut it sometimes, so I'm just going to be a playable card. And yeah, gets a C. We're going to make it through the video, guys. Sorry about the coughing, but it's been like 20 days since I made a video, and I've been wanting to so bad. I've just been dying. Brutal Traditions is a 2-cost upgrade that says, if an enemy unit was defeated this phase, play this upgrade from your discard pile, paying its cost. So now we have an infinite upgrade. Well, you know, infinite enough. I actually really like infinite cards, even if they are upgrades. So we're going to move the standard F rating up to at least a C. Its stats are like crap, but it's infinite stats, right? Like anytime you have 2 extra floating resources, we get to play Brutal Traditions. Again, I don't love this card, but the problem with upgrades in general is that like you get 2-for-1s. Like you play an upgrade and your opponent just like uses a spell or just kills your guy. or takes your upgrade with that taking upgrade card, and you get 2 for 1, and it feels really, really bad, and that's why upgrades are bad. But this card comes back, so you're not really getting 2 for 1. You're just getting like an understated upgrade. And an understated upgrade is whatever, so we're going to make this card C, just playable. If you guys really like upgrades, this is the one to put in your deck. And can't scroll down, but that's okay. Last card is Super Commando Squad of the blue-black. It is a 5-cost 4/4 Imperial Mandalorian Trooper with shielded, so it's a little bit below rate on its stats, but it's a shielded unit, so that kind of makes up for it. And when it comes out, it says when this unit is upgraded against Sentinel, Shield is an upgrade, so it comes out with Sentinel and can maybe get Sentinel later, especially with Brutal Traditions. The card we just talked about would be actually pretty good on this to give it Sentinel the next turn after the shield comes off. So yeah, this card seems pretty good. I like shielded Sentinel units a lot. Make your opponent attack it multiple times. Again, your opponent only required to attack it once, but still, if they want to kill it, they have to attack it multiple times. We're going to give this card a B. It's a little bit better than playable. When you see this card, it should probably just go into your deck. Great. We did it, guys. Now we are going to talk about the hero blue cards. And first up, we have our leader, Finn. Finn says, defeat. I cannot scroll down far enough. That is really sad, but I can just tell it to you. Defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit. So it's kind of a weird ability. You could defeat the shields that you give to the unit and then re-give them shields. I don't know why you're doing that. This card would be great with Brutal Traditions, but it's off aspect, so I don't want to pay 4 for that card. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this ability at all. Like, why am I killing bad cards to just give shields? Like, giving a shield is like, I don't know, 1 cost of value, like, and a card like Moment of Peace, like we saw in the last set. So I'm not really in love with this card. On the flip side, it's a 4/6 that comes out on 5, which is kind of nice. On attack, you may defeat a friendly upgrade on a unit. If you do, give a shield token to that unit. I don't like Finn's abilities. I don't like either of them, but I do like his stats. This card is a lot worse than Rey. I'm going to give it playable, but that is a harsh C. I think this card could be a D pretty easily. I don't really know how to make good use of his ability throughout the game. Yeah, I don't know. Like, are we defeating experience tokens and giving shield tokens? Like, how are we getting experience tokens? Like, I don't know what kind of build around we can use to make this work, but surely it's out there somewhere. Okay, let's just talk about the good leader. We got Rey. Rey's a great leader, guys. Probably one of the best ones in the sets, actually, which is super weird. So on her base side, she's kind of like a Tarkin. You pay 1 to give an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power. And you're like, man, that's like super niche, Spencer. Why do you think this card is good? Well, if you look at the blue cards, they like all have 2 attack for some reason. So she pretty much buffs them all 1 time, but she buffs them all, similar to Tarkin. And she can buff herself. So on her flip side, she says, on attack, you may give an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power, which is herself. So you could make her a 3/7, on attack. She's also a force unit. Doesn't really matter. But so she becomes a 3/7 most of the time for a 6, which is, whatever. But she comes with Restore 3, so that's pretty good. Like, it's pretty hard to kill you if you have Restore 3 on a leader. Yeah. So her flip side is fine, but I actually really, really like this action ability. And when I first read Rey, I assumed she would be like a C, maybe B, because it was just like a niche Tarkin. I mean, Tarkin only goes on Imperials, but like this seems like even less. But then you look at the blue pool, and you're like, wow, you make like every blue card playable. Like, we're going to go through the blue cards, and I'll talk about it a lot this video. But like, we'll see, like, man, this card would be so much better if it was just a little bit bigger. And that's what Rey does. And because of that, and I can't believe I'm doing this, I'm giving Rey an S. Which is like crazy. In the last set, I only had like 1-2 S leaders. I actually really, really, really like Rey. Like, I think she makes the entire color completely playable. And luckily, she's a common. So if you guys are in blue, like you want to play blue, you should look to play Rey. because she really does make the cards playable. And we'll go through it, and maybe by the end of the video, you'll agree with me. It's okay if you don't, but if I see Ray, I'm going to be like, man, I'm going to see if I have enough cards because I want to play her. She is very, very good. So let's go through the blue-white cards. First up, we have Clan Ren Rescuer. He is a 2-costed Mando unit that has 1/2 stats, and when played, give an experience token to a unit. So you could give the experience token to himself, making him a 2-cost 2/3, which is a playable card actually. Like turn 1 cards that are on cost are playable because you just want to like start with something on your field, right? So I'm super okay just like starting this off with a C. But it does have like some bonus that you could give the experience token to other units, like you could give it to your leader. But then you're left with like a crap unit. I don't know how in love I am with this card. So we're just going to start off with a playable. It's just a C. The Mandalorian tag is relevant, but its stats are just a little low to make use of that relevancy. I have no idea how to pronounce it. We'll just call him K. He is one of the two, either the beast or the guy. Sorry, guys, don't know. Someone can tell me in the comments below. He is a 2-costed 2/3 fringe unit. I have spoken. Did the creature speak? Restore 1. When this unit attacks, heal 1 damage from your base. You guys know what Restore 1 was. I don't know why I read that. All right, on attack, discard a card from your deck. If it shares an aspect with your base, return it to your hand. Well, it should probably share an aspect with your base, right? Depends like how color heavy you are. We'll just say you went 50-50 on 2 colors, so half the time it will return a card from your grave to your hand on attack. That's about, I don't know, the same as like C3PO. Maybe C3PO is a little less, and I really like C3PO. So this card is actually pretty solid. It has like, you know, the little bit of extra help of Restore 1. It's a 2-costed card, so I like those. I like having a unit to start off the game on turn 1, and I like drawing cards. So we're going to give this card a B. It should go in our deck all the time. There's no reason not to play this card. Next up, we have a weird Sentinel unit. It is a 3-costed space Concord Dawn Interceptors 1/4 Mandalorian Vehicle Fighter. Has Sentinel. This unit gets +2/+0 while defending, so it's going to be a 3/4 while defending. That's fine. If our opponent doesn't play any space cards, I played a 3-cost to swing 1 every turn. That's kind of crap. My opponent does have a space unit. I don't know. I like looking at the space units. I don't know. I don't really know what this card is doing too much. I think it's playable though, and it's definitely good in the sideboard if our opponent is very space heavy. But I'm not in love with this space unit just because it doesn't really pressure our opponent. Like the cool thing about space units in this game is if our opponent doesn't have many, we get to just swing every single turn at their face. But, hello, this card swings for 1. So it's just protecting us against opponents that want to do that to us. So it's a better sideboard card. Just a C playable. Next up, we got Village Protectors, a 3-costed 2/2 Sentinel Shielded. I like this card because it has Sentinel and Shielded. This one actually needs to be attacked twice. It only costs 3 to do so. I don't know if it's killing anything back, but demanding 2 attacks is pretty good, especially in the late game. This card, don't always play it on curve. Play it like when you play your leader. Say, hey, I'm super protected now. And if you're playing Ray, hey, this is a 3/3. Like I said, made this card way better. Oh, and the last card that we just talked about, wherever it is, Concordia Dawn Intercept, now it's a 2/5. That's crazy. Like, swinging for 2 is a lot better than swinging for 1. It's double. And Ray made this card a lot better, right? Oh, we can even talk about the last card that we went to. This thing, a 2/3. Now it's a 3/4 drawing cards. Oh, crazy. A lot better, right? You see that she actually just, like, super buffed everything we do, which is nice. And it doesn't have to be the turn you play it, right? You can do it whenever. So yeah, Village Protectors. I don't know if we gave the rating, but it's a B. It's a good card. Put in your deck. Don't always play it on curve. Card's actually pretty good in the late game. Razor Crest is a starter card. So let's go to Miss Rose. She is a 4-costed 2/6 resistance unit that has Shielded. Sorry, guys. When you play this unit, give a shield token to her. On attack, you may defeat a shield token on a friendly unit. If you do, give 2 experience tokens to that unit. Okay, so let's say I play her, she's not attacked, and then I swing with her. She becomes, I can kill her own shield, and she becomes a 4/8. Crazy. Ray would make her a 5/9 if I was able to buff her before I swung, which is pretty good. So I like this card. Its stats are a little low. Like, it should be 9. Should up to 9. This adds up to 8. But it comes with a shield, so I think that makes up for it. And then it has like this crazy effect. And this is one of the cards that actually, if you see more than one of, it makes Finn like a playable leader. Because what you can do is you can defeat the shield unit from her, put 2 experience tokens on her, use Finn's ability to take off one of the experience tokens and give her back the shield, and all of a sudden your opponent is like losing their mind. They're like, how do I deal with this card? And it's like so much so that they probably actually just lose the game unless they have a hard removal spell, which are far and few between in the set. I'm actually going to give Rose an A. I think this card has an incredibly high ceiling. It has really, really nice play arounds. It makes Finn a lot better leader if you get stuck with him. And her base level is totally fine. Her floor is a playable card, but she can do so much more than that. So we're going to give this card an A. Speaking of A, now we have Ray. Haha. Keeping the past. It is a 5-cost 4/7. Decent stats. While playing this unit, ignore her aspect penalty if you control Kylo Ren. Who cares? On attack, you may heal 2 damage from a unit. If it's a non-hero unit, give a shield token to it. So, you're like, non-hero unit? That's kind of hard, Spencer. Well, you know, you can be playing just mono blue cards, and your mono blue cards will be getting shield tokens then, which is pretty nice. I actually like Rey. I like her stats. I like that she has 7 health. I think she's super hard to kill. I think when she attacks something, she probably kills it. She can heal herself too and make herself go out of range again. She can give shield tokens. I think she's a powerful card. I don't know if she's as good as Rose, but I think she might be. And for that, we're going to give Rey another A. This is a powerful card. I mean, it's a legendary, so you probably won't see it. Sorry. But if you do, play it very strong. Will not die to many things and will make your opponent very infuriated when you start giving shield stuff to everything. Next up, we have the Armorer. This is going to be one of our first examples of the difference between pre-release and draft. This card is probably a draft bomb if you can have a Mandalorian build around. If you give 3 shield tokens to 3 units, that is crazy. I keep skipping their stuff. It is a 5-costed 3/5 Mandalorian unit. When played, give a shield token to each of up to 3 Mandalorian units. So you can give a shield token to it, which means it has a fine floor. Its fine floor means it's like already a C. But remember that there's a lot of Mandalorian stuff. You can give it to leaders. Yeah, so this card is probably at least a B. It's really powerful. Like a 3/5 shielded unit is nothing to, smile about, but the fact that it can give it to other things probably pushes it up to that B level. But, let's say this is your only Mandalorian unit, then it's just going to be a C. It's just playable. So you can see how that rating is kind of changing. But in draft, this is like an absolute bomb. I can see this card being an S in draft, especially if you have a Mandalorian, just a Mandalorian themed deck, or just a bunch of Mandalorian units everywhere, all over the place. Yeah, this card can be crazy. Like 3 shield tokens is crazy. So keep that in mind. This card is really powerful in draft as a build around, but still fine. At least a C to a B in the pre-release event coming up next week that we're excited for. Next up, we got Gentle Giant, a 6-costed 2/8 Wookiee. Has grit, so turns that health into power. And on attack, you may heal damage from another unit equal to the damage on this unit. I'm actually really not in love with his on attack. I think that the grit makes him like kind of annoying though. He costs 6 though and pretty much does nothing to the field. Our opponent can just ignore it because it only has 2 health, which means usually you're going to swing your Gentle Giant into their card and then wait a whole another turn and swing it in again. And at that point, our opponent probably had 3 turns to deal with it. So I think it's hard to actually make this thing do something crazy. And for that, I'm just going to give it a C. It has stats, like it does things. It has an ability that I don't really know how to make great use of, but probably maybe could. Yeah, it's a C. Playable card. Next up, we have the Mandalorian. Nice. It is a 6-costed 5/6 Sentinel unit. Okay, sounds good so far. I like Sentinel units on the ground, especially when they have 6 health. That usually is more health than most things have attack. And when played, you may heal all damage from a unit that costs 2 or less and give 2 shield tokens to it. So this card, let's say in not Ray, is probably like at least a B because it's a Sentinel ground unit that can also do something else. But in Ray, you can actually do some cool things. Giving 2 shield tokens to your leader sounds like absolutely disgusting. I don't know how they're going to be dealing with that Ray for the rest of the game. And you can do it the same turn you play Ray, which is really nice. Which might push this card up to an A. So I'll say this card is an A when you're playing Ray, otherwise a B. Even if you don't get his effect off at all, it's still a 5/6 Sentinel unit, which will protect you. And we are almost done. We have our friend Chewbacca, and it is a 8-costed 4/10 grit unit. Okay. When played, you may defeat a unit with 5 or less remaining HP and has smuggle for 9, but it's red. Okay, so kind of have to mix colors there, though you could still play this out of resources for like 11 if you've never played red in the late game, which is actually like totally fine. Like playing a card out of resources is really good, I think. Most of your games won't be getting to 11 resources, but some games will. If you play this card on curve for 8, it's killing a unit, which is what we want our 8 costs to do, as opposed to Supreme Leader Snoke. Like this actually does something the second you play it, in my opinion. It also has like this crazy win condition where like, hey, 10 health is a lot. I'm going to swing at something and it's still going to be a lot of HP, and then all of a sudden it's going to be swinging for like 9 and you're going to die. That's super scary, especially since blue is all about like shield tokens, and this thing like getting big and then getting a shield token sounds like how our opponent loses the game. But just because it has straight up removal on a good body, we're going to give it an A. It is a very powerful card. And you guys should notice that blue-white has a lot more A's than blue-black did, and Ray was an S. So if you guys are a blue lover, then go towards the light side for this one. And the last card of our good guys is Mystic Reflection. It is a 1-costed force card. Give an enemy unit -2, -0 for this phase. If you control a force unit, give the enemy unit -2, -2 for the phase instead. All right, so this card is absolute trash. If you don't have a force unit, I would never pay a card to give something -2, -0 for the phase. Like, just, you know, I thought Jin was just terrible. You never saw her ever in Constructed. I don't think anyone made a single video about her at all. And that was -1 on an ability that didn't cost a card. But anyway, I don't like this card at all. There's not that many force units, and why are we only doing 2? Like, I guess it does 2 damage, quote unquote, right? So I'm not really in love with this card. I'd say if you have a force unit on the field at all times, then it's playable. And if you don't have a force unit, it's an F. I would gear towards that F rating when you guys evaluate this card. Okay, guys. We are up to the just blue cards. First up, and thank you so much for watching if you're still here. Maybe you guys are just sitting back, relaxing, or maybe you're driving somewhere. I always like turn on these videos when I'm driving somewhere. It's nice to listen to someone talk about something I like. But let's talk about the double blue cards now. And we got Second Chance. It is a 4-costed double blue, which means 6 cost most of the time. If we're not playing 2 blues, which we probably should never be. I guess I can talk about that again. You'd almost never want to be double color in pre-release. In draft, you can kind of sort of make it work, but it's a lot harder. And the only reason you want to do it if the cards really pull you in that direction. Like, I forgot his name now, but you know, the 4-costed 2/2 that got +1/+1 for each blue card in your hand. Like a 6/6 can, you know, in draft on 4 costs with Sentinels, crazy. Like that can pull me in. That can pull me in. But I don't know if this card pulls me in. So what does it do? Attached to a non-leader unit, attached unit gets... Jesus, sorry guys. Attached unit gets, when defeated for this phase, this unit's owner may play it from their discard pile for free. So you guys can do it to your own card or your opponent's card. You attack, trade in, and then you get to replay your card. It has like the versatility that can go on either card. Please note that this card is a legendary. It's just, I want to evaluate this card as like pick a unit, summon it with full health. That's its effect. Summon it with full health. maybe even from the discard pile, but it has like a pre-stipulation that you need to attack and kill something first. So if you're behind on board, this card is like incredibly difficult to use, because how are you killing the unit when you're behind on board? And if you're out of aspect, like if we're not double blue, which we're usually not double blue, then this card costs 6, and I'm playing 6 behind to do nothing is really bad. So, man, I'm giving a legendary card an F, guys. I think Second Chance is an F. I think if you somehow manage to draft 30 blue cards or pre-release 30 blue cards and you go double blue, then it's still probably only a D. Like 4 resources to pick something to resummon is just not that crazy. Like you could say, hey, I'm stealing my opponent's unit with this. Sure, but you have to kill the unit first. So you had to like sacrifice something, right? You're not actually like taking their unit like traders. You're not getting a +1. This card's really hard to use. And the fact that after you play it, it's your opponent's, like, you know, they have priority to do whatever they want. They can kind of like screw you a lot sometimes with, you know, a bounce effect or like kill an upgrade. You can get punished super hard playing this card. So yeah, it's an F. We spent a long time talking about this bad card. Next up, we got Midnight Repairs, another bad card. Heal up to 8 total damage from any number of units. It costs 2. It's double blue. I probably would never pay 4 for this, so it's going to be an F. If I'm double blue, I would consider paying for it, which means it would be a D. I think it's niche. I think it's hard to get a lot of value from this card. I probably will resource it most of the time or just cut it from my deck, making this card a D. I gotta scroll down a little bit to get to the other double blue card. Not next to it, but that's okay. We got Sugi. It is a 4-costed 4/6 double blue. While an enemy unit is upgraded, this unit gains Sentinel. Well, I did say upgrades are bad, so most people shouldn't have them. People love upgrades for whatever reason in every game, so people always play them. And shields are actually everywhere, and those count as upgrades. So she'll have Sentinel, like, I don't know, half the time. We'll make up a number. 50% of the time, this card has Sentinel. And then she comes with Smuggle, which, if you guys notice, her Smuggle cost only has 1 blue on it, and it actually makes me really like it. I like this card. I like Smuggle. I think Smuggle's a crazy mechanic. It's kind of just like a +1. Paying 6 for a 4/6 is like kind of bad, but it's free. Like, it costs me no cards technically. So I'm gonna give this card a playable. And I think if you are double blue magically, I think it goes up from a C to a B. Like this. It's not really a reason to play double blue, but like, you know, this would be really good in a double blue deck because paying 4 for a 4/6 that sometimes has Sentinel is good. But yeah, I like the Smuggle. I like that it can sit in your resources and you can be like, well, I need Sentinel right now, and it has Sentinel if I play it. So I'll play this crappy costed card, but it has 6 defense, so maybe it protects me from 2 things. Pretty cool. We got to go back up, and I think we're on Moisture Farmer now. It is a 1-cost 0/4 that drove people to panic for constructed. It has Restore 2. I don't know why people are panicking. They're like, I could just heal so much. But this card has no attack and only 4 defense. It's probably not dying to anything that your opponent plays turn 1, but it's also never killing anything turn 1. And it's not restoring anything because I'm at full HP. Ray, again, makes this card better, makes it into a 1/5. That's at least like kind of annoying for your opponent. And you can do that the turn you play it. Because it only costs 1. So again, Ray, again, will show you how all these cards are better. Oh, we can go back if we maybe miss some. No, when we get the double blues, we'll talk about how Ray makes everything better. But yeah, so this card's an F, absolute terrible. If you're playing Ray, like, then you could put this card in your deck, and I still wouldn't think it's good. Like, it'd probably be a D. Like, I'd probably cut it most of the time. But again, that's just... It's not really about the card, it's about how good Ray is. Next up, we have Follower of the Way. It is a 2-costed ground unit that is a 1/3, has the Mandalorian tag. While this unit is upgraded, it gets +1/+1. You know what's pretty cool about this card is Ray. Want to go look at Ray again, guys? Did we forget? Look at this card. Give an experience token to a unit with 2 or less power. Well, hey. So if I give an experience token to this, it becomes a 2/4, and then its ability kicks in and becomes a 3/5. So I've now turned in this complete dogshit card into something playable, a 3/5, and if I even pay 3 for that, like I do it on turn, and it doesn't get attacked right away, which would be the ideal, a 3/5 is a good unit, and that makes this card playable in Ray. Not playable outside of Ray because I'm not playing upgrades, right? Because upgrades are bad. So this card is a D. Does get cut, I think, most of the time. I think if we're playing Ray, we start considering it, especially if we want that Mandalorian tag. Has a niche effect, but again, Ray makes everything better. And here we go. Time to talk about Ray a lot, guys. This is a 2-costed space unit. That's a 1/3. Would be interesting if I can make this crap unit a 2/4. On attack, you may reveal the top card of your deck. If it's not a unit, give an experience token to another unit. So this card has a nice payoff as the game goes on. If your opponent doesn't play a space unit, you're just, again, we'll say 50%. 50% of the time, we're getting experience tokens. So it's getting us 1 point of value, every other turn. But Ray turns this into a 2/4, which actually will threaten our opponent's life total. Like 1 is nothing, 2 is something, it's double. Don't undermine the value difference between 1 and 2. It is literally double, so 2 is a lot more than 1. But yeah, so I think this card is whatever. A 1/3 that dies to like every other space unit and needs me to have another unit that I only hit sometimes is like pretty bad. That's a cuttable card. I'd probably cut this card most of the time. And if I'm playing Ray, well, I'm a lot more excited to play this card. But again, Ray buffs everything, so don't rely on the rickety quad jumper. It is a D. It sounded like I was hyping the card up, right? But I was really just hyping up Ray. Like, she turns that baddish card into a playable card. Next up, we have Embo. It is a 3-costed 3/4. Has the stats, and when it completes an attack, if the defender was defeated, heal up to 2 damage from a unit. 3/4s for 3 are actually almost Bs already. I actually really, really like 3-drops that are 3/4s or 3/5s in this game. Don't undervalue them. I think they can do a lot for the board. Sometimes you might think like, man, this I just lost this game. I don't know what happened. It's probably a lot of the time because of what your opponent did on turn 3. And the fact that this card heals 2, turn 2, 3 resources, heals 2 from itself means like you could kill a 2/3 and then put this thing back to full, avoiding its death from whatever our opponent played for 3, if they also played a decent statted card. So I like this card. It's a B. Put in your deck. We're probably never cutting it. We should never be cutting it if we are playing blue. Next up, we have Letter 290 Freighter. 3-cost 2/5. And the text box says, yeah, nothing. Okay. A space unit with 2 attack is whatever. It costs 3, has 5 defense, so it's not really dying to anything. But guys, if it became a 3/6, that's crazy. 3 attack is a lot. 2 is a lot more than 1. 3 is 50% more than 2. We're doing math. I like this card in Ray. I think outside of Ray, it's fine. It's playable. I think I'll cut it sometimes, but it'll make its way to my deck just because I probably need space units, and this thing's a space unit. But Ray makes this card a lot better, and so if you're playing Ray, pick up this card, put it in your deck. It'll be fine. But yeah, just playable. And I'm getting so excited for these 2 attack cards, right? Here's another one. No idea how to say that. Mr. Tree Tender is a 3-costed 2/4 Wookiee with grit. This unit gets +1/+0 for each damage on it. Okay, now imagine, guys, instead of a 2/4, it's a 3/5. All right, we should stop talking about Ray so much, but I think you guys will get the idea, is that she really does make the rest of these cards really good, especially when they have all of these really cool effects with bad stats. Like, Grit's a good effect, but it only has 4 health. But with 5 health, it really does start adding up. At 5 health, right, it starts sometimes living against 4-costed units, because if you notice, there's a lot of 4 attack units at 4 cost. So, yeah, Ray, good job, Ray. But yeah, this card's just fine. That's a C. It's playable. Has grit. You play it on turn 3. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing great about it. You upgrade believers will love that card because you're gonna, increase its health to infinity and swing for infinity, and that's how you're gonna win your game sometimes. Next up, we have Nema Outpost Constables. It is a 4-cost 2/6 Sentinel unit. I like Sentinel. I like 6 health. I like that it has 2 attack for Ray. Makes this card a lot better. We're going to give it a B because it's a Sentinel unit that I can play in any blue deck, and that usually will eat 2 attacks. So it's good at protecting me. Next up, we got Survivor's Gauntlet. It is a 5-costed space unit, 4/6 Mandalorian vehicle transport unit. When played and on attack, you may attach an upgrade on a unit to another eligible unit controlled by the same player. This thing has some weird effects going on. The fact that you can... It doesn't say friendly. I really like the card because it doesn't say friendly. So it says an upgrade on a unit to another eligible unit controlled by the same player. The way that reads to me is if our opponent played one of those bounty cards on my unit, I could actually switch it. But it has to go on my unit still. But I could switch it around. I could do the same thing on the other side. I can move their shield tokens or their experience tokens off a unit. Maybe moving an experience token off a unit would actually just kill it. You know, it has like really niche effects, but it does it like kind of consistently in this set, I think. And it has good stats for a space unit that comes out at 5. So just for the stats, it's playable. For its effect, we're going to bump it up to a B. I think this card should always go in your deck because I think it will sometimes just do magical things in your game. The Magical Survivor's Gauntlet. Next up, we got Vigilant Pursuit Craft. It is a 5-cost 3/5 space unit with Sentinel and Smuggle for 7. Again, Sentinel in space, not as important. If we notice, this card just dies to the last thing. And yeah, they both cost the same thing, right? This is a 3/5. If we look at the last card, I guess it's a 4/6. Doesn't necessarily die. Okay, sure, it protects us against their Survivor's Gauntlet unless they move an experience token around. But I'm not in like love with this card. I guess it trades evenly with the other card. But it has Smuggle, so, you know, in the late game, I could just magically have a space unit. I think that card makes it a lot better. It's really close to a B, but I think it's not like a good card. Like, it's just a fine card. It's playable. I'm going to be really happy to use its Smuggle at some point in the tournament to save my life. And my opponent's going to be like, oh, I'm going to win. You have no cards in hand. And I'm like, Smuggle for 7. Got him. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah. This card's cool. It's just fine. Playable. Whatever. Next up, we have Double Gunner. 6-coster, 5/6 Mandalorian unit, Protector of the Concord Dawn. When played, you may play an upgrade from your hand. It costs 2 less. Oh no! It's an upgrade build-around card. Please make it stop. When you play an upgrade on this unit, give an enemy unit -2/-2 for this phase. Ooh, kind of bossy, right? Instead of events, it's upgrades, and it's -2, which is a little bit better than 2 damage. But it's only for the phase, so it's not always better. Oh, man, what am I playing? And I don't like how it says I'm going to play an upgrade from your hand. I wish it says I'm going to play an upgrade. Costs 2 less, because then we can at least play that one thing from our grave for free. That'd be cool. Yeah, guys, I don't know. An upgrade build-arounds. I'm just really not feeling this one, I don't think. Yeah, we're going to give it a C. Sorry, guys. It's just a fine card. I like how I was showing you that I was debating it, but we already have pre-rated these cards. But, you know, if you, in draft, if you get a bunch of upgrades and you're an upgrade believer, like, this card's going to be your payoff, and it's not going to be a C. It's going to be probably like an A. But I don't know, like, it is a little sticky because it has 6 HP. But, like, I feel like you have to play a lot of upgrades to make this card good. And I don't want to play upgrades. I don't even want to play 1 upgrade. I want to play 0 upgrades in my deck. Yeah. Just be glad I gave it a C, guys. Could have given it an F. Next up, we have the Cargo Juggernaut. Not on the list. Oh no, we moved the wrong thing. Not my face. Here we go. Cargo Juggernaut is a 4/6 shielded unit. When played, if you control another blue unit, heal 4 damage from your base. Let's go. All right, this is a reprint, and this card was actually surprisingly super good. I forgot what rating I gave it before. I probably gave it a C or B. It's a B now. After playing with this card, I felt so good in the last set, like healing 4. You're like, you have to control another blue unit, but usually you play your leader right around when you play this card. So leader, Cargo Juggernaut, always healing 4. It has 6 HP, which makes it sticky. A lot of things in blue have 6 HP, so usually 2 things need to attack it. Since it has shielded, probably 3 things. So, yay this card. We should just talk about Resilient now. I shouldn't have moved my face. Oh, it's blank text. Resilience and upgrade F. All right, moving on. What do we have here? Where were we, guys? Oh, Public Enemy. Okay. Public Enemy is a upgrade. 0 cost, +0/+0. Great. Attached unit gains bounty. Give a shield token to a unit. So Moment of Peace was like the best D there ever was. Like, I think you cut it most of the time, but you know, you can resource it. Sometimes the shield unit goes crazy. This card is like a way worse Moment of Peace because it requires you to kill something first. And it's not right away. Card's bad. F. Don't play it. Cool. Next up, we got Foundling. It is a 1-cost upgrade. Attached unit gains the Mandalorian trait. Pretty much a blank text box most of the time. It only gives +1/+1, and it's an upgrade. Nice. I like giving Fs. You're an F. See you later. Next up, we have Top Target. Oh man, just a series of great cards. This is a 1-cost upgrade. +0/+0. Attached unit gains bounty. Heal 4 damage from a unit or base. If the unit is unique, heal 6 damage instead. I kind of like this card in Constructed. Do I like it in Pre-Release or Sealed? Not really. I don't really like healing 6. The idea of trying to heal 6 from your unit with this is really hard to do because your opponent has all the priority after you play this card. They can do whatever they want. If you're trying to heal 6 from your base, it's a little bit easier, but why am I trying to heal 6 from my base? I should just play the game better and probably not play an upgrade. Let's give this card an F. Nice. Healing 6, though, against a super, super aggressive deck where you can somehow kill the unit even after paying 1, maybe makes it a D, but whatever. All right, Mandalorian Armor. Attached to a non-vehicle unit. It is a 2-cost upgrade. When played, if attached unit is a Mandalorian, give a shield token to it. So if you play this card on a not Mandalorian unit, it just gives +1/+3, making this card absolute garbage, an F. But if you play it on a Mandalorian unit, we get the Moment of Peace effect of giving it a shield plus a little bit of stats. I kind of like that. I still feel like I can get 2 for 1, but we'll give it a playable because it's giving a shield token. So it's just, you know, it's just doing a little bit more. But it's, again, super niche. So because I don't always have Mandalorian units, and it's probably leaning more towards a D. I'm probably cutting this card most of the time, but in these scenarios where I have a Mandalorian deck, maybe in draft, you know, it can go up to C and it can make the cut. But again, this card isn't like, I drew Mandalorian armor and now I win the game. That's not going to happen. So we're going crazy, guys. Vambrace Grapple Shot is a 2-cost upgrade. Fudgers, so many upgrades. Am I going to have to play them? There's just so many. Attached to a non-vehicle unit, I just won't play blue. Easy, solved. Attached unit gains on attack, exhaust the defender. Has an okay effect, but I have to attack their unit just to exhaust it after I've upgraded my unit. So I made my unit bigger than your unit because I upgraded it, and now I'm attacking your unit to turn it sideways? Why? Ugh. I mean, just a 2 for 2/2 is like, I hate upgrades. F, stop it. Go away. Bad card. Don't like it, guys. Covert Strength. A 1-cost event tactic. Heal 2 damage from a unit and give an experience token to it. Smuggle cost 3. Oh, man. This card, if it did not have Smuggle, would be like an F-. Like, literally terrible. Never want to put in your deck. It has Smuggle, which means the card can just go in your deck because at one point in the game, you're going to be like, man, this is the turn where healing 2 and giving +1/+1 will win me the game. And I like that. I think you want exactly like 1 copy of this card in your deck. But if you don't, who cares? It's cuttable. We're going to give this card a D. It's pretty much an upgrade that I gave a D to. But I have Smuggle. Upgrades with Smuggle are a lot better. Because then you don't get 2 for 1s. Where are my upgrades with Smuggle? My 1-costed Unexpected Escape event. It's a trick. It's a trick, guys. Don't sleep on that. Exhaust a unit. You may rescue a captured guard by that unit. Okay, so let's say, would I pay 1 to exhaust a unit? Probably not. I liked paying 2 to exhaust a unit for 2 turns, but even that, you know, wasn't always insane. It was really good on leaders. You know, exhausting a leader with this for 1 maybe is worth the value. Sometimes rescuing a captured guarded unit, and sometimes is a big key word. How many cards have I gone through, and how many capture effects have you seen? Maybe blue isn't the color that does it, but you've seen none. And if someone's playing blue, they're not having capture effects. So think about that. Like, how often am I rescuing something? This card is probably like the definition of a sideboard card. If your opponent has like this insane pool of always capturing your crap, you play this and it's unexpected because you get your thing back and you're exhausting their thing and it's fine. But yeah, I would say like if you're trying to main this card and hoping it's going to be good, probably like an F. In the sideboard, it becomes like a C, playable. So F to C, guys. Keep this card in your sideboard. If you want a 1 rating, then we'll just give it a D. But yeah. All right, Fell the Dragon. I like removal. It's been a while since we've seen it. Defeat a non-leader unit with 5 or more power. It's not really killing any blue things. I'm still going to give this card a B. I think removal is always premium. This one's a little bit harder to use because they need to have 5 attack. But what do you do? Kill something with 5 attack for 4. It's always going to feel good. So it makes it a B. Like, you always play removal in your deck. If it doesn't seem like it's lining up, you can resource it. But, like, I don't think I'm ever cutting Fell the Dragon. I don't cut removal almost ever. Same with Rival's Fall. It's a 6 cost event, tactic, defeat a unit. The cool thing about this one is it defeats leaders. So you can defeat the leader the same turn your opponent played it. Obviously, you don't get to play a card yourself that turn to put something pressure on the board. But killing their unit right away is actually really good. It's a common, so you actually see this card quite often. I don't think I want to give it an A because it costs 6. So defeating anything other than units or really late game cards with this feels not great. But it is removal. So B, put it in your deck. We're never cutting it. Next up, we have Evidence of the Crime. Thank you for printing this card and showing me yet again why upgrades are so bad. This is also a trick, and it costs 3. Take control of an upgrade that costs 3 or less and attach it to an eligible unit of your choice. The big downside is that last phrase is that you have to own a unit. But let's say we do own a unit. I could be taking shields or experience tokens, which is kind of nice. I mean, take a shield from your opponent and get one. It's like, I don't know how many points. I don't even know how to describe that, but like, it's fine. Like, I would do that. If you take real upgrades from your opponent, you can show them why upgrades are so bad. I might probably just always play this card in my deck because I know my opponents are going to play upgrades, even though they should not be. People play upgrades, guys. Not everyone watches this video and believes me that they're bad. So do know that people will play upgrades. This card might be a B, but it's a niche effect. But I'm saying I'm going to give it a playable, but it probably will always go into my deck. I'll know that I'm resourcing it most of the time, but when my opponent plays that upgrade and I take it from them, man, are they going to be pissed. Because that is a 2-for-1 in a weird way. You took their card and put it on your card. So it's a cool card. I like that there's a punish for upgrades. But yeah, just a C. But a C that I'm probably always going to play. So am I supposed to give it a higher rating? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I had a brain fart there. Next up, we have Val. Loyal to the End is a 2-cost 2/4. Ray. Make this a 3/5. Pretty good. This is a tricky card. It has Bounty, deal 3 damage to a unit, which means when your opponent kills this, they get to deal 3 damage. But it also says when it dies, give 2 experience tokens to a friendly unit. Now, the active player chooses the order of Val's ability. So if you attacked into something, you would choose how it works. If they attacked, they would choose. This card is a risky card that has decent payoff. If you can manufacture the scenario where your other unit gets 2 experience tokens and takes 3, like, what is that? Like, deal 1 damage to it, give it +2 attack. That's like a fine effect. If you have no board, it is just a 2/4, which I kind of like. I like that it kills 3 2s and stays alive, and then, like, you can kind of use it on the next turn if you play, like, a 3/4. Even if your opponent killed it, right? So it's a weird card. I think that you can get punished if you do not play this card correctly and like literally lose the game instantly. So be very, very careful about playing Val. I'm going to give her a C for that reason, but I think in the hands of a very experienced player, they'll always want to play this card. It has the Underworld tag, and I think you can manufacture scenarios where she's really good. But again, you can get punished severely, and sometimes you don't see the punishment happening. So Always keep that in mind. And we get to finish with one of my favorite cards, Imprisoned. It is a 2-cost upgrade, +0/+0. And its text box says, this card is an F. Nice. Alright guys. Attached to a non-leader unit. Ugh. Attached unit loses its current abilities and can't gain abilities. Who cares? I don't know why I'm using this. I can't do it. Ugh. I mean, you can turn off the bomb that we talked about way earlier in the video. Whatever its name was, First Light. Turn off the Grit. Turn off Snoke. I don't know. Like, I'm playing a card saying, man, my pool is so bad, I have to hope my opponent has a really good pool and plays these really strong cards. That way I can turn off their abilities. Right? You're not dealing any damage to the card. They still have the unit. You're playing an entire card for this. It doesn't have Smuggle. This would be the perfect Smuggle card. It would be. Doesn't have it, though. It's an F. We can never play this card. And holy moly, guys, we did it. What do you guys think? Is Rey really an S tier? I think she's at least an A. If you look down through like all these cards, if I just scroll, there are so many things. If we with a 2 attack, she really does increase the power of a lot of these blue cards. And for that, you know, I really like Tarkin in the last pre-release as well. I gave him like an AS. I think Rey is pretty much the same power level, though I do think her flip side when she comes out is a little bit stronger than Tarkin. Yes, it's a turn later, but it like makes up for that with the restore effect. And yeah, guys, we need to be done talking because who knows how long that video was. I have been trying not to cough for the last whatever hour, and sorry about it throughout the video, but we are done. We did it. All the blue cards out of the way. Next up is green, I think, and look forward to that in a day or two. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, peace.